Hello and welcome to the Zurich Zone. My name is Nitya Bhutani and I'm joined today by Pei Si Lai, who is the CEO of GXBank in Malaysia. And also by Rupa Malhotra, who is the head of customer and digital for us in Asia Pacific. Today we'll be talking about the evolution of digital financial services in the region, as well as the impact on customer behavior and how to make partnerships successful in that context. So, Pei Si, let's start with you.
All right.
You used to work for a brick and mortar bank for almost 25 years, and now you're leading a digital-only bank. How's the transition been for you? Tell us a little bit more about that, and also what's been the biggest learning in the whole journey?
I think primarily is this, right? For the last 25 years, I was in a bank, right? Using technology as an enabler. Today, I'm in a technology company, actually offering banking services. So therefore, the journey has been, I think, one that is, a lot of it is about learning and unlearning, learning new things, but I feel that I have even more to actually unlearn, right, throughout this time. That's actually the first. The second is that it's really been one of great empowerment. You know, in the previous organization I was in, it's more than 100 years old, and you've got lots of these core legacy and foundations that's there. So whilst I've been extremely lucky, I've been able to work in various roles that do different creation, right? We create new things. But the fact is that I've always innovated actually around the fringes. And now what I get to do is that I get to create and innovate, right, on a blank piece of paper. So it's extremely empowering. That's the second. And the third is that, as you have rightly pointed out just now, we are the first out of 5 digital banks in Malaysia. And these digital bank licenses have not been given out at all, right? It's been a long time. And being able to be the pioneer group, right, and have the trust of the shareholders as well as the regulators to start the bank is an extreme privilege, I think, not only for myself, but my teams and the other 4 players who are actually in Malaysia to start a bank or banks in this regard. That's the fourth. And fifth is, I think I just love it. I just love the fact that we're able to start everything new and to bring all the skills I've honed over the years, right? And discover that many things that you've learned is not enough, right? And you got to then learn together, I think, with the rest of the colleagues who are pretty much an eclectic mix of folks that we brought together actually to build a bank. So it's quite fun, actually, Nitya.
That's great, and I like how you talked about learning and unlearning in your transition from traditional financial services to digital, right? And I'm sure, Rupa, that's also something you encountered as on your journey to take traditional insurance products now digital.
Yeah, no, first of all, congratulations, Pei Si.
Thank you.
As you were saying, she was saying that what's not there to love, right? So I think, we're all looking forward to that. But yeah, I think this whole journey of learning and learning, I think I didn't think from that perspective initially, but I think I kind of got on, as I kind of almost learned on the job, I realized that I was as like a change agent or something, because I think when I came, it was double-edged for me. One, I was going from a traditional into a digital space, but also I think personally also I was changing where I was focusing on numbers to more towards people and technology side of things. So I think for me, it was a bit more, I was just going it with a very open mind in terms of, I don't know exactly what's happening in this world. Let me embrace it. And I kind of learned through that journey that, we are talking 2 very different things. There is this, on one side, a push thinking that, just because it's digital, that means putting things on the digital channel is probably what the definition of digital was. And then I kind of going through that journey of realizing that no, that's just, of course, that's an enablement that digital gives, but you kind of need to change everything that you do and how you look at your products and services. So I think in that spirit, it was a lot of being a change agent and actually bringing everyone along with that journey as well, because I think it was kind of a bit different to Pei Si in the sense that it was part of the mothership as well at the same time. So yeah.
As you're going through this journey as well, right? When I think of digital financial services, there's
Right.
obviously the element of convenience, there's the element of simplification, but more than anything else, there's the element of financial inclusion, which I know has also been a big priority for B&M as they were thinking of giving out licenses. And so how are you thinking of targeting that using GXBank?
You're right, Nitya. A very big mandate, right, BNM has given to all the banks is how do we make sure that we provide inclusion, right, actually for those who are unserved and underserved in Malaysia. So as we design, even at the upfront, we were designing actually for the underserved and unserved. So every product, every solution that we have out there, right, is first designed for this group. And when we say we design for this group, actually just means that we look for features as well as functionalities, right, that enables them to do a few things. First, are they able to access? Second, right, are we able to educate them to want to take up actually these products? And three, how do we reach them? So really, actually, as we design for the products, right, as we think about the data that we have to be a lot more relevant to this group, we then ensure that we get our solutions ready actually for this group of folks, right, whom we're targeting for. So that's one overall. Two overall is that we do have an express commitment actually to the regulator, how many people that we want to serve, right? And which area should we actually serve in? So it's very clear to GXBank that as we start in our journey right now, as we start the bank, we will start by making sure that they are not only able to save, it's easy for them to save and easy for them to accumulate wealth. Second is that how do we make sure that they are also able to protect their wealth? That's the second. The third is an important element because in Malaysia especially, many of our customers are telling us they do not have access to loans and lending products. And that therein then lies the opportunity then for us to use the data that we have around us and potentially craft out an alternate solution that's much easier for this group of our customers to access, to be educated, and truly buy and benefit from the products that we're going to be able to give them.
So through the embedded insurance journeys that you've implemented so far, are you noticing a change in perception among consumers about insurance?
Yeah, look, first of all, we all know that embedded finance or insurance, it's not a new terminology integrating financial products into non-financial products and services. But I think what's happening is what we just touched upon, was that inclusion has still been a problem, awareness and actually access. What I think embedded insurance or finance is doing is opening, is an immediate opening to a financial, it's an introduction to your financial product, right? And I think we're seeing that when it's actually at the right place at the right time and the value is very clear, and because now you can actually fractionalize your product to a point it's affordable, the introduction to these products becomes very easy. Is that the answer to everything? No, but I think it's what we're saying is that it's a great way to introduce and make people aware of financial products without pushing it to them.
Right. And it's almost Pacey to what you were saying, right? Data would be a great enabler here. So the data that you have on people who are underserved at the moment or even unserved altogether, which I think is 60 to 70% of Southeast Asia's population, it's a great way to be able to offer what Rupa was saying, the right product at the right time. And are you seeing any new use cases around AI and data to be able to do this together?
No, I think absolutely, right. So first, embedded finance is really about integrating the financial services into a non-financial service, right? And then to Rupa's point, it's about getting there at the right time, at the right point of contact, and with the most relevant solution.
Yep.
So what AI does or data does is that this big data enables us to first, right, make sense of all this unstructured data that we have actually in the market. Right, and take some of this structured data we already know, how their behaviors are, actually through the embedded finance partners that we may have, pick those up and make sense of what it means, right? And with these sets of data points, what it enables us to do is to reach out at the right time, in the right context, with the right relevant product, and perhaps actually to Rupa's point, with technology, we're able to make it smaller and more affordable, which is much harder if you are looking at a non-digital solution. So that is one, right, a way of reaching them. So the ability to take all these, what we call them alternate data in the financial world, data that's not traditional, like how much they have borrowed before, how well have their behavior been, right? And pick others like how they've been spending on, well, in my case, Grab, right? How often do they take a transport? What type of food they buy, right? And so on and so forth. And pick these behavioral patterns and then form some credit models and also get a sense what could be their income and decipher and predict what could be their behavior in paying back the loans that you would potentially lend to them. And these alternate data, given that it is new, it is untested, also means that with this data that we have and with the white space that we have right now, we can take this data and test and retest them, iterate them, right, until we get to the right model. And then we'll be able to then go out actually with this group of customers. Plenty of use cases, I think, right? But it does require, I think, all of us to be a little bit braver, to try and iterate all these different test cases, right? And then slowly actually push them out, right? Actually to the market.
So do you see a role for human connection to be able to close this loop? Because for simple financial services products, it's easy to do digital only. But when it comes to mortgages or more complicated lending, like you mentioned, right, there's still a need for education.
I see. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Absolutely. Do I think that it will be like today, where it is a 10% digital, 90% human? For products that's a lot more sophisticated, it will not be, because the fact is that every customer prefers and expect digital first, right? And only if, right, there are actually more questions to ask, there are more clarifications to be done, right? Then the human element comes in. But even as we speak now, as I set up the bank, we are setting up a 24/7 contact center, right? Where 24/7 voice assistance is available along with chat assistance, right? So we clearly see that despite us being 100% digital, and we should be, there will always actually be the need for human interactions. That's one. And two, when we think about human interactions, we always tend to think of the end product, how we actually service customer. But the reality is that it actually starts from right at the beginning as well. So when we design actually for our customers, what to put first, what is the next journey, where's the next button, where will we put this particular field, what type of products that we are really, or features that's going to be most important to customer. What we do is we put the right people at the beginning to design for customer. And in the case of GXBank in Malaysia, we make sure that we have 95% or more of them are locals, because localized content is so important, right? So designing and putting human in, I think it's both the front as well as the back.
Rupa, has that been a challenge in the Zurich Edge journey as well, as you kind of go from your simple fractional embedded insurance products to then be able to bring customers along the journey to more complex insurance products?
Yeah, I think I'll make what Pei Si said, right? I think it's a bigger challenge if you're trying to take what's currently present and say, oh, how do I digitize and actually reduce the human connection? I mean, human connection not from the sense of us trying to reduce the human element of thing, but in terms of how do we digitize so that things that don't need any assistance should be taken away. So I think in that spirit, it starts from the process of designing the products. I think where more from an insurance point of view, we see the challenges, or I would probably not say challenges, I think, which continues to be an area where I think we will continue to have more of human interactions, is more on for us is from claims, because I think that's a moment of truth for insurance. So I think where we are trying to make sure is that the sales part of things, where we are starting and customer really understanding the product they are buying, whether it's embedded or contextual to what they are, so their need is identified. So I think there is a lot more focus to ensure it should be as simple. If you can't be explained to someone in the journey, that means something is wrong with how we what we have done.
Right.
So it's a process. Are we there? I think the whole industry is trying to get to that point, right? So I think, but that's kind of the thinking. But we are very cognizant that when it comes on a claims experience, what happens when someone is in that moment where they need help? Are they going to go back to the app, or they're going to want to speak to someone? And I think what we're trying to ensure is that there's options available to the customers, right? We'll try and kind of push it to a point where everything is easy for them, accessed on their tips, right? That's the intent and the design. But in that spirit, we also want to ensure that in moments, again, coming from some of like Pei Si talked about, doing customer testing, etc., you kind of need to see how non-insurance people are going to interact with it, and I kind of take from the fact that there will be touch points that we want to make sure we don't take away the humans away, or that call away from the person, because they don't want to chat with the chatbot at that point in time. And it depends so much on context, right, Nitya? So are you talking about a flight delay versus being stuck in an accident and you need immediate assistance and you can't seem to reach out to anyone?
Right.
So I think it's a lot depends on context. It's a very broad
So
sphere.
at the moment of vulnerability.
Yeah, exactly. And then how big or small it is from that context. So, but I think it's something that is probably one of the key things for us in our journey when we are designing our products. It's the whole value chain from start to the end. Yeah.
Actually, if I could add to that also, I think how much human interaction that we need ultimately for a product journey, I think comes in three parts, right? So the first part as providers of financial services, right? It is truly, I think, our duty to ensure that we explain and we're able to design a product that is easy to be consumed, right? With or without a person to explain. And that's much easier said than done.
Yeah.
Because so many products that we do now, it's actually kind of complex.
Yeah.
Financial products are kind of complex. So that's actually the first. The second is around customer preference, right? I think to Rupa's point, the context of the ask, the context of the inquiry, the context of the product they're going to be buying. There are some who prefer have 0%, zero human interactions because it's meant to be so simple, right? You want to get it once and done, unless you actually need to ask more questions. But I think it's about choice.
Yeah.
How do we give the customer the choice, right? That's the second. The third is something larger, I think. It's about regulation, it's about infrastructure, it's about framework. In many markets that we're in now, at least where we are, not all markets and not all regulations are able to provide products completely digitally.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, many we are unable to
Yep.
in the financial products. And in this way, it's not only the regulations, it's also the infrastructure. Right? Is there enough of the network? Is the wider digital infrastructure ready, right, for a fully digital product? In many markets that we're in here, actually here in Southeast Asia, or certainly maybe South Asia a little bit better in one market or two, it's not ready. So it does require, I always say, an entire village to get this done. And I don't think the village is really quite ready at this moment.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. And I think it's not just Southeast Asia. I think we look at Japan. It's in the market. It's such an interesting market to look at. On one side, it's probably everyone knows they've been on robotics much before everyone else. But the market is and the customer preferences and choice, and even the framework around being paper based is still so ingrained almost into the culture that even if you want to, so example is that we have Linus, which is the WhatsApp of Japan, right? It's very popular there, and we have we have all our services, everything available online as well. And yet we see the younger customers, they'll call you. And we had an incident. So it's kind of linking the 2 points on human connection, need for human connection, and whether we can do it end to end. There was an incident recently that we had implemented within 24-hour claim experience as a kind of an SLA that we had driven to ensure the customers get the claim in less than a day. And the customer were approached first online but said, I want to talk to someone. And
Right.
so it got redirected to our call center, and the claims call center person spoke and said fine, and then within the same day the claim got approved. And the person was so touched, said, I'm so glad, can I get your name and address? And the call center said, no, that's not needed. And she's like, no, we don't accept anything, so it's okay, that's part of our service. And that the customer Googled, the customer knew that this person was based in Nagasaki call center, Googled the Zurich address call center in Nagasaki, and sent a box of chocolates saying
sweet.
that I was not expecting anyone to pick my call, and add that to getting my claims. And this became more like a moment around, again, back to what Pei Si was saying, choice, right?
Okay, great. So let's talk a little bit about what we're envisioning for this partnership here, right? What's the art of possible with Zurich Edge, with GXBank, as well as the broader ecosystem that we see in Malaysia?
Okay, like for me, right? When I look for partners, we look for partners in three big areas. So the first is, do they have capabilities and competencies that we do not have? Do they have the complementary sets of capabilities and competencies that we do not possess, right? So that's really the first. The second, typically when we look at partnership, we also look for folks who may have data.
Right.
Right, and the third is at least when I wear the hat of the bank. The other criteria, typically when we ask and we look for partners, is around access. Right, is the partner able to give us the reach? In our partnership with Zurich, right, is truly the first. Right, Zurich has the competency as well as the capabilities, right, that GXBank do not have. Right, and certainly in this regard, it's about provision of insurance products that we are not able to manufacture, nor do we wish to do so, right? To get to our clients, but ultimately, when we start choosing a partner, right, and there are plenty of partners to choose from, and ultimately we chose Zurich, and because we felt that, and we knew that we've got aligned interest. And that's going to be most important. The alignment of strategic agenda on what we want to do today, what we want to do 3 years from now, and what we'd like to do 5 years from now, right? And our commitment actually to those strategic agenda, it's probably the most, I think, important criteria for us as we look upon which partner do we would like to work with in the short and medium term. So that's first. Second is, like I told the Zurich team, is also about the people that we're going to work with. And it's a little bit softer, but it's probably also most important because the milestones are typically very easy to decide what we want to do, but how we're going to be getting there, how successful we will be together as a team, 2 teams, will depend on whom we work with specifically. And in this regard, as we look at the Zurich team of today, right, and working with probably the GXBank team of today, we think we've got the best chance to make this successful. So yeah, so that's where we are right now.
So Rupa, as you continue to drive towards more partnerships, right, and I think the expectations, as Pei Si just laid out, are quite clear. So how are you seeing that evolve in the context of insurance companies to make sure that we're ready to partner correctly, to deliver on some of these KPIs, these milestones?
Yeah, I think as Pei Si pointed, right, I think I kind of also probably divide it into two sets, right? There's this element of capability, right? We have to ensure it's a journey. There is absolutely no company. I'm not talking about insurance or finance. I think it holds true for all the industries. I think we kind of need to ensure that we are always being nimble enough that we are adding on to our capability suite, because customers' preferences change, right? And the only constant is change. So I think kind of for us is ensuring that we are very focused on kind of building our pipeline of capability, so that we know that if the kind of data that we are able to get together, the kind of insights into customer behavior, how are we able to craft the right new products continuously, how are we able to optimize in the best efficient way, right? So I think for us, that's kind of the first given set, that the mandate for us is very clear. We're going to be very focused on the hygiene part of things, getting our tech and capability right. Well, I think equally, as Hesi said, and I totally feel that I think people are such an important part, because you can get your strategy right on paper, but if you kind of don't get people aligned and actually are hungry enough for the same vision that you hold together for yourself and with your partner, who have kind of given that trust to you in terms of you want to build something together, for us is very critical. So I think investing in people and ensuring they are also have the same vision and mindset and or have the same skills. So I think that's kind of where absolutely critical. And I think last but not the least, which is kind of linked, is what does a combination of people and tools bring is again ensuring we are constantly looking at, as you said, possibilities, right? Kind of challenging the possibilities, right? What is it new things that we could, and I think new, when I talk about, is not from an innovation point of view. I think it's about what is it that we can do more for our customers, because I think we've got the insurance penetration rates are very low in the region, right? It is enough for everything. So I think we got enough of our pie to kind of look at the opportunities, but I think we just need to constantly work to. So I think our challenge is to stay nimble, is to constantly ensure that we are enhancing our capability, and I think is to remain, get our people really passionate about what they're doing. So I think that's kind of for us is very important, and hopefully that kind of gives the right message and chemistry and work with partners like GXBank, because I think it's that cultural mindset makes that's then the two can come together is really powerful.
Right. And like you said, right, it is really about working together to expand the pie. And so from a product lens, how are we thinking about that at the moment?
So I think for us is looking across, not just we spoke about initially embedded, but I think also in the life stages of the customer, as the bank also sees the customer's evolution, actually putting the right products at the right time. So I don't see we are done with one product or one or two product and we are done. I think we kind of need to ensure we are able to personalize. So I think that's kind of the thing we'll be working towards, is that we have this suite of products that we are able to fit to a customer, and that customer will also change because their needs will change. How are we able to, go along with the journey with the bank and with the customer on their insurance needs, and again choosing the right way, whether it's embedded or whether it's a standalone in the app. I think that's something work in progress. So I think we are doing a lot in terms of ensuring we are studying the customer behaviors collectively, and I think one of the important part of partnership business especially is it cannot be us Zurich sitting on side and thinking about what is that product that fits. It has to be aligned with where a bank is going in their journey as well in this case, right? So for us, and I think our teams work amazingly well in terms of collaboration, and I think that's kind of, we want to make sure working as team, they look at with the same vision and the same customer. So that's I think where the track the kind of track we are taking for our product development.
And certainly likewise, right? So, in every partnership, I think the relationship has to be win-win. So, Wells, I think Zurich has taken the extra step to make sure that they are as aligned as possible to a strategic agenda and a vision. I think same thing that we have actually done so as well, right? So, many times we find that the best products has to be co-created, amongst the two teams. So that's one, with a customer clearly in the center of the design. And because we are a nascent, we are a startup, we do have a blank piece of paper. So I think that gives us the opportunity to really design across the entire page,
Yeah.
Across the entire, it's so amazing, right? That you're able to design on the entire piece of paper, right? You start with something at the side, sometimes in the center, but you get to where we want to be. And that's where I think successful partnerships, right? If we're able to probably speak another 3 years' time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we should run another one of this session, right?
What did we do with those Lego blocks that we had?
Precisely,
and then there was, what
right?
did we create out of those?
Correct. And see whether we are able to fill it up actually in a way that we want to fill it up. But that's where I think the wonders of actually starting together, right? So it's extremely exciting time for us.
Right. No, I love the blank piece of paper opportunity, right? And in that respect, it's not just retail customers that you have an opportunity to do something for. It's all of the SMEs, and particularly in Malaysia, the micro SMEs, right?
Yes.
That start to really come into the picture.
Yes. We'll start with retail customers, but very, very soon, right? We will have our micro SME segment up and going, right? And that's when it's another, I think, a subset, right, additional piece of paper on top of the white one that we have. But there's so much interlinkages, I think, between the individuals and the micro SMEs. And just taking, say, insurance by its horns, right? It's such an important product, right? An important financial need that we need to see to first and foremost before we take a look at the second, the third, and the fourth, right? To help customers to get ahead, right? Either individually or in the businesses they're trying to build.
Yeah. And I mean, there is a very large protection gap in Malaysia itself.
In Malaysia and in many places, I think also, because protection is not a intuitive product to take. Intuitively, people want to save.
Yeah.
Intuitively, people want to borrow,
Yep.
but people do not protect, right?
Yeah.
And only if you are educated actually from very young would you have done so, right? I'm glad to say the first financial product I ever taken was an insurance product.
Oh, wow.
Was it savings or protection?
It was protection actually, and when I'm an adult, right? So yes, protection to make sure that in the event that something happens to me, my family is taken care of, right? And I think that realization or that education is important for every person, every individual.
Yeah, we just need to, it's a great example because I think we don't see that at a young age, people taking that prudent financial decisions. So we just need to see whatever Pei Si learned. We just need to make sure everyone learns the same book.
I'm not sure about that. But no, certainly on the insurance lesson, yes. I think we should.
Thank you for that, Pei Si. I think some really good key takeaways for us here on customer adoption, customer behavior, how to think about human connections in a digital world, and also how to make sure that we have a very successful partnership between GXBank as well as Zurich on the way. And so it's been great having Pei Si Lai, the CEO of GXBank, as well as Rupa Malhotra, the head of customer and digital for us here in APAC. Thank you.
Thank you for having me here.
Thanks, Nitya, and thanks, Pei Si. It was lovely to chat.